Hey everybody, week 2, second video. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are disappointed that this isn't a remix video or a mashup video, but one wasn't exactly ready yet. There is one in the works. In fact, hmm? So, let's talk about a couple of subjects that I neglected to talk about last week on the first video, namely Magic the Gathering and podcasting, two hobbies I have that I really want to get serious into. First off, let's start with the podcasting, and my first show, Geeks or Fans.
We've got geeks for fans.
Yeah, man.
Geeks.
Yeah, I was never really in love with that name. Originally, the podcast was going to be me and a pair of my friends from the Bay Area. I wanted to talk about my gaming opinions, some old classic games that I used to enjoy. Specifically, I wanted to talk about a game that was coming out at that time. A working relationship between Tecmo Koei and Namco Bandai, and they were going to make a game together. Originally, I thought it was going to be Soul Calibur Cross Dynasty Warriors in a fighting game, and I thought, awesome. I love both franchises, and I'd love to see what they could do together. It ended up being One Piece Pirate Warriors. And I'm not the biggest fan of One Piece on Earth, so. But I did have fun with the show. It had about 15 episodes to it, and towards the end I started having guests on the show. For starters, it was Havoc, my friend from Australia, and then Slidekick, who you might hear from the Game Buoy video game podcast. Ironically enough, the other host of Game Buoy, Captain Spike, was going to be my co-host from the original idea of Geeks for Fans. And it was fun. Very fun. I love the interactions I had with my friends, but the badness happened, so I kind of took a self-imposed exile from podcasting. Then, Nerdgasm Network happened. A group of guys from the Detroit area who had similar passion for video games as I do, and also the lack of a censor filter as I have. It was a great experience. I was on for about 70, 75 episodes, and we all had a blast. We all had fun laughing at each other, with each other, and with the game industry. Which birthed the Game Over Takeover podcast, a nerd-centric podcast I do with my friend Sin, whom I also brought into Nerdgasm Network for a while. We had a lot of fun on that one. It lasted about 26 episodes, a good year, and while fun, life just kind of had a way of getting in and essentially stopping that one as well. Nothing bad, we just all ended up going our separate ways and living life. And to this day, I miss it. I miss sitting here and talking to everyone about video games and movies, TV, what have you. And it's something I want to get back into. And as luck would have it, I've been hearing some rumblings that a certain network full of nerds might be starting up again, so keep your ears open for that. Another passion of mine, Magic the Gathering, something I forgot to talk about last week, but I'm definitely going to mention this time. Someone by the name of Scare7331, I hope I'm not butchering that name, had commented on last week's video and wanted to hear my playstyle and how I got started. So here we go. I originally started back in 1996 when Fallen Empire's 4th edition and Ice Age came out. I enjoyed it. I loved every part of the game. The aspect of building decks, the interaction between people, just the whole feel of the game felt fun to me. And I was still in my infancy of playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, so this really helped my fantasy nerd sprout more. I played all the way through until the Urza block, the very tail end of that, Urza's Legacy. I stopped playing at Mercadian Masks, not for any real reason other than when I moved to the Valley, there weren't really many people to play against at the time, so I just kind of dropped the game. I dip a toe into it every now and then until Innistrad came out, and I love me some Germanic Gothic lore with vampires, werewolves, zombies, what have you, so that really brought me back into the game. And I've kind of stuck with it ever since. I tried to play every format I could, from draft to sealed, standard, modern, but lately I've been pulling away from the standard. It just doesn't feel fun. It feels like spending $500 on a deck that just rotates every year. It just seems bad. So I now stick to more of the Eternal formats. Modern, which I don't play all that often, honestly. Legacy, which I'm starting to get into, and of course, Commander. It feels like the fun I used to have back when I was in high school, playing on desks against my friends at lunch. The fact that none of us really knew how to interact with the game, we were very new to it, so it felt very loose, and no one really knew what could happen next. That's what Commander feels like to me. Of course, that is until I get to the competitive aspect of it, which I very much dislike. I much rather have the fun and fancy free and no one knows what's going to happen next. I'd rather not have the game either end on turn 2 or last for 3 hours because everybody's been locked out by one player and no one has the foresight to just quit. So, that's my history of Magic in a nutshell. It's mainly Commander now, a little bit of Legacy, a little bit of Modern. Draft if I can find a fun draft like the Unsets or a Conspiracy or a Chaos. But I try to play for fun. I try not to play too competitively because I know I can have a competitive edge and that actually ruins it for me. And I feel like I'm starting to push towards that way, so I'm trying to kind of pull back from that and really enjoy and embrace what I used to love in Magic. And that's why I kind of want to start streaming, kind of get into a routine of how I used to play it, just have fun. And the social aspect that I want to get back into it. So I guess it's kind of why I want to start streaming that as well. So, I hope I touched on a lot of subjects today with this video. Don't worry, next week I should have that mashup you heard earlier all ready to go. If not, there'll be something else. I promise it's not going to be my face every week. I mean, Lord knows I even get tired of that. So, until then, take care everybody.